What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Francis Ngannou supports Jon Jones for not fighting Tom Aspinall. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. If you follow our channel, you know that for months now, critics have been piling on Jones and accusing him of ducking Tom Aspinall. A key reason being that Jones repeatedly claimed he wasn't interested in fighting the UFC's interim heavyweight champ. But following Jones's head-turning win over Stipe Miocic at UFC 309, the champion did leave the door open to a fight with Aspinall. Bones has made it clear, however, that he expects the UFC to open the bank vault in order for that fight to happen. I think this is about a negotiation situation here that we don't know the ups and downs, and I think he's in the position to claim what he wants. As he has said, Aspinall needs that fight. Jones doesn't need it, and when you look at it, it's pretty much true. There's nothing that he's going to make in that fight other than money, but for Aspinall, who's coming and trying to cement his weight in the division, that'll be everything. Few would likely argue that Aspinall has much more to gain by fighting Jones than vice versa. As Ngannou noted, the English fighter wants to entrench his status as the UFC's top heavyweight. But is it truly the case that Jones has nothing to gain by facing Aspinall, other than scoring a truckload of cash? Maybe, but if he were to beat Aspinall at the age of 37, it would be one of his most impressive accomplishments to date. The Schmo interviewed Jon Jones last night, and he provided an update on his next UFC fight.
So right now, the UFC and I, we're in negotiations. We're in talks to see what happens next. I'm back in the gym. I'm training. I feel really great, and we'll just be ready for whatever opportunity comes our way.
But you're a betting guy. Do you think you'll get back inside the cage in 2025 if we had a bet on that?
Yes, I will be competing in 2025, more than likely.
Speaking of Bones' accomplishments, recently he shared this comment via social media, now that he's approaching Anderson Silva's record for title fight finishes. From idolizing Anderson Silva as a young man to now being tied with him for the most finishes in the title fights, it's surreal. I grew up watching his greatness, dreaming of one day achieving even a fraction of what he's done. To now share this honor with someone I've admired so deeply is beyond words. Respect and gratitude always to my personal GOAT. Being in the same company as Anderson Silva when it comes to records and accolades is definitely a good thing. Technically, Silva still holds the record with 9 finishes in title fights, since Jones' stoppage of Daniel Cormier back in 2017 was overturned to a no contest after Bones tested positive for banned substances. IShowSpeed gets dropped by Dan Hooker while sparring in the cage. Speed took some nasty body shots during his spar with Dan Hooker, with a couple of them dropping Speed to the ground.
Come on! What? So you alrighty? You alrighty? You alrighty? You alrighty, huh? Come on! You alrighty? Come on.
There you go.
Tom, that's Tom.
Here's what the MMA community had to say. Speed doesn't even look that bad for someone with zero training. Hey, props to him, he hung in there. More entertaining than the fake Paul fight. That kid has superior physical genetics, and if he trained in anything for a year, he would give these guys a run for their money. That liver shot must have hurt. Dan Hooker did well. Speed is lucky he didn't step in with Strickland. Dan Hooker is crazy, but he absolutely showed mercy here. Speed landed approximately 1 punch in their sparring. See, this is how a trained fighter fights an untrained fighter without going overboard. Take note, Sean Strickland. Hooker could have KO'd him badly. This is pathetic. Up next, Belal Muhammad gives update on his bone infection. 2024 will come to a close without Belal Muhammad defending the UFC's welterweight title. But based on comments the champion recently made about medical issues that have sidelined him, it sounds like he'll be coming off the DL soon. After securing the welterweight crown this past July by defeating Leon Edwards, Muhammad was booked to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov at UFC 310 on December 7th. Not long after the fight was announced, however, Muhammad revealed that he was dealing with a nasty bone infection and was out of the fight. Ian Gary stepped up and will battle Rakhmonov at the event, in what's being billed as a title shot eliminator. More recently, Magomed appeared on the Anik and Florian podcast, and while providing an update on his condition, the 36-year-old revealed his doctor was shocked at how fast he's recovering.
No, like the doctor even said it. He's like, bro, I've never seen like it heal this quickly. So for something like that to heal this quickly, like you're on point. Like, cause like the doctor is like, again, shout out to Dr. Debusa, he's a beast. He was like, bro, I'm usually working with, people with
cancer and things like that, or
cancer and stuff like that, and diabetes. And he's like, once you get like a bone infection, it's like we're snipping it off right away. There's no like ifs, ands, or buts. So to see it with an athlete, it was like weird, but it's like to see the healing process now is like, all right, it could heal like this. If you're healthy, if you're active, and you're like take care of your body outside of it, like it's healable, it's treatable.
So this is good to hear, and one would think that this will close the book on any chance of the Rakhmonov-Gary fight being for an interim belt. During the interview, Magomed also relayed that he thinks the idea of an interim belt being on the line doesn't make sense, given that he just won the title a few months ago and he expects to defend in the first half of 2025. Provided the winner of Rakhmonov-Gary emerges somewhat healthy and Magomed continues to recover, we'll probably be seeing Magomed fighting the winner next spring. Magomed Ankalaev wants to fight Alex Pereira over Jon Jones. Jon Jones has let it be known that he's down for a legacy fight with Alex Pereira, so much so that Bones has claimed that he wants that fight over one with interim heavyweight champ Tom Aspinall. So would the man who is expected to fight Pereira next, Magomed Ankalaev, opt for a fight with Jones? If he could have it, apparently not. On account of Ankalaev's 13-fight undefeated streak, which includes wins over contenders like Anthony Smith, Volkan Oezdemir, and most recently Alexander Rakic, the Dagestani fighter, is knocking on the title shot door. As the MMA world waits to see if and when Pereira and Ankalaev will fight, the latter recently attended the MMA World Championships 2024 event in Russia, and while doing so, he was asked by the media if he had a choice, who would he pick to fight, Jones or Pereira? The decorated Sambo competitor said this: "The desserts are both very tasty, but Pereira is in my division, so I would choose him." Of course, the odds of Ankalaev being offered a fight with Jones at this juncture of Bones' career seem slim to none. But on paper, there's no question that Ankalaev matches up against Pereira much better than Jones. So Ankalaev's response could be reflective solely of that. Hard to say. How do you see a fight between Ankalaev and Jones playing out if the seemingly impossible were to happen, and would you be interested in seeing that fight? Kai Asakura and Merab Dvalishvili training footage. As UFC 310 approaches, some folks have been questioning how Kai Asakura will fare against the well-rounded game of the flyweight king, Alexandre Pantoja. That could be why the former Rising champ has been training with the grappling and wrestling machine Merab Dvalishvili. Asakura has been tapped to fight Pantoja in what will be the Japanese star's UFC debut. During Asakura's rise and run, he demonstrated multiple times that he's a dangerous striker, but due to the fact that Pantoja has recorded at least 5 takedowns in his last 3 fights, and because he's a super legit BJJ black belt, many have wondered how Asakura will do if the champ tries to take the fight down. More recently, this footage was shared online, which shows Asakura defending takedown attempts from Dvalishvili during some light sparring. As noted, it didn't look like Dvalishvili had his foot firmly on the gas pedal there, but Asakura did squash several takedown attempts. What's your take here, and does it shift your opinion on how the Pantoja-Asakura fight will play out? Ali Abdelaziz gets exposed for using Umar's Twitter. For a long time now, many fans and fighters have claimed that Ali Abdelaziz writes the social media posts for some of the athletes he manages. Due to a recent post that appeared in the X feed of Umar Nurmagomedov's account, those claims are making the rounds again. Following the UFC Macau card this past Saturday, Merab Dvalishvili was quick to respond to Peter Yan's call-out. So much so, the bantamweight champ even posted a video of him calling for a bout with Yan next March. Well, on Umar Nurmagomedov's X feed, a somewhat odd post appeared. It stated, "Umar can beat him, that's why he's avoiding him." The odd phrasing caught the attention of fans and prompted many to conclude that Ali forgot he was logged into Umar's account when he posted that. Then, several minutes later, this follow-up post appeared. Sometimes people talk about themselves in the third person. Yes, while that is true, that argument probably isn't going to change too many people's minds. In fact, at a recent MMA event in Russia, Magomed Ankalaev reported that Ali does post his social media comments, but that he doesn't post it until Ankalaev has reviewed it. He writes the tweets, but we talk to him. He doesn't write anything without my knowledge. To get a fight, so as not to be avoided, you have to speak. I am aware of everything that's happening. He writes in English. English is needed there, but I don't speak English. There you have it. What do you think of managers writing social media posts for their fighters, even if the fighter has to sign off on it before it goes out to the world? And on the topic of Umar and Merab, Umar tweeted this last night: "A coward will always find an excuse for his retreat," Georgian proverb. And Merab fired back with, "This is why I lost respect for Umar and Ali a long time ago. They play dirty games and write stupid disrespecting my country and my people. Keep this same energy when I see you in person. See what happens." Fighters furious with PFL and MMA community reacts. After the PFL acquired Bellator MMA, the company and others championed the move as proof that the UFC had some serious competition. But fast forward to today, and several of Bellator's top fighters are lighting up the PFL on how they've been treated. After months of speculation as to what the future of Bellator would be, once it was clear Showtime was getting out of combat sports, PFL acquired the promotion. The PFL spun it as a great day for MMA as well as fighters. But more recently, the PFL has been taking some heat after several Bellator champions took to social media to protest the fact that they have not been fighting. For example, light heavyweight champ Corey Anderson posted this: "Aging like warm cheese over here, waiting for PFL MMA to give me a call. But don't get it twisted, we still ready to defend the strap against anybody, young or old." Bellator's current bantamweight champion, Patchy Mix, joined the protest with this post: "I've been training my ass off for the last half year for nothing. This is frustrating in the prime of my career, and I've had my fight in November canceled. Then now again, I'm being told I'm off January Dubai card. I am the best in the world and I want to fight to prove it." The legendary Chris Cyborg, who holds Bellator's women's featherweight title and the PFL Super Fight featherweight belt, responded to Mix with this: "Hopefully we fight together in February." Bantamweight contender Leandro Higo proceeded to share out his complaints as well, and that prompted a lengthy response from current Bellator featherweight champ Patricio Pitbull. Higo posted, "This is very frustrating. We have no clue about when we might be fighting after 2 fight cancellations in a row. Time is of the essence in this game. We can't waste our primes on the sidelines. I'm working hard to take that title, spending money, sweat, and blood. What's going on?" To which Pitbull responded with this: "I haven't fought since February. I wanted to fight 3 times this year, but I was told I'd have to wait until December 31st and found out online my opponent would fight someone else. Then they had a replacement. I bring people over, spend more money with the champ, and there's no fight." The decorated fighter also shared this eyebrow-raising comment in a series of posts, offering tens of millions of dollars to social media personalities and semi-retired fighters while cutting 90% of the roster and telling guys making 30 plus 30 they're too expensive. How can you become #1 in the world if you don't stage events and don't want to pay fighters? It wasn't long before the protest caught the eye of UFC fighters. Bantamweight contender Manel Kape told Mix the following: "You are not just a champion, but a dominating champion. It's time for you to join the UFC, where the best are valued." And UFC middleweight contender Brendan Allen responded to Mix with this: "Damn, that they need to do better to keep their best talents competing. Would love to see you in the UFC." Veteran MMA journalist John Morgan then noted how interesting it would be for the UFC's bantamweight division if Mix headed over. "Would be a fun name to throw in all these UFC bantamweight discussions after today's event if PFL Bellator didn't have a spot for him right now." Patchy's run the past few years has been incredible. And Sportsnet's Aaron Bronstetter also chimed in on Mix's unfortunate situation with this: "Really hope that Bellator does right by Patchy and gets him a fight soon. These prime years shouldn't go to waste." Then the social media highlight factory, the legendary Grabaka Hitman, called attention to how the PFL failed to deliver on its Bellator plans. PFL's Bellator plans this year were a complete failure. They promised 8 events in 2024, only pulled off 5. Touted 2 title fights per card, didn't happen on 4 or 5 of them. Canceled multiple events with zero explanation, moved title bouts to different cards. What happened? Of course, fans and other observers also had a lot to say about the situation. Here was one of the responses to Mix's understandable concerns: "You're going to be fighting the same 2-3 people over and over again with no one watching. Assume you must be offered X amount of fights in the given duration of their in breach of contract, break away." And here was another, which encouraged the fighters to unite and take action. "Have to stand up to the promoters. Too many fighters are afraid and do nothing. Look at the UFC fighters who were too afraid to collect their settlement money. My advice, drop the UFC PFL house manager. Join the MMA-FA, which did the UFC antitrust lawsuit. Get real representation." So what do you make of the Bellator champs' protest? Do you think the PFL will step up and get them booked for fights soon? Or do you wish that the promotion would let these fighters go and pursue opportunities elsewhere, including with the UFC? Conor McGregor receives bad news after his guilty verdict in court. The game Conor was featured in, called Hitman, has parted ways with McGregor. They took to Twitter writing, "In light of a recent court ruling regarding Conor McGregor, IO Interactive has made the decision to cease collaboration with the athlete, effective immediately. We take this matter very seriously and cannot ignore its implications. Consequently, we will begin removing all content featuring Mr. McGregor from our storefront starting today." Do you think that more brands are going to part ways with Conor McGregor? He has publicly stated that he will be appealing the decision in court, but has the damage been done to his reputation? Ariel Helwani's DMs were allegedly exposed when CT from The Challenge allegedly exposed his girlfriend's DMs from random guys she was talking with and even meeting up with. It was a 7-minute video of random people texting her, and 3 minutes into the video, fans noticed Ariel Helwani was a part of the list of people who he exposed. It starts with Ariel asking her to go to a fight and Ariel trying to collaborate with her, to Ariel asking where the content they would feature on and if it was going to be on OnlyFans. It ends with Ariel turning down her collaboration because she quote-unquote scoffed at his price. Many people also pointed out that they had a public interaction on Twitter, which further proves that they were in communication in 2023. Now, it's important to note that nothing happened between the two that we know of, and the only comment that fans are calling out Ariel for is the OF comment. But many people are writing that off as a joke. What do you think of this situation? Is Ariel wrong as a married man?